There is a kind of silence that does not mean peace. It is the silence of a woman who has learned that speaking the truth in her own home costs more than she can afford to keep paying. Olivia knew that silence well. She had been living inside it for 2 years. If you love stories where a woman chooses herself when everyone expects her to shrink, stay with me until the very end. You will want to hear how this one unfolds. Olivia meets Daniel at a mutual friend's birthday gathering in Lagos, a rooftop party in Lekki, where the music is too loud and the conversations are too shallow for her taste. She is standing near the railing, looking out at the lights of the island when he walks over and says, without introduction, that the view from this side is better. She laughs because it is true. They talk for 3 hours. He is warm, easy to listen to, the kind of man who asks questions and actually waits for the answers. Daniel is a sales manager at a mid-sized logistics company. Smart, presentable, proud in the way men from good families tend to be. Not arrogantly, just quietly, like a man who has always known his own worth. He is the second of 3 sons. His mother, Helen, is a retired school teacher from Ibadan who visits Lagos twice a year and calls every Sunday without fail. Olivia likes her from the first phone call. She is sharp and warm, the kind of woman who does not waste words. They date for 18 months. The relationship is good. He shows up. He is consistent. He treats her with the kind of steadiness that a woman who has watched too many men disappear learns to recognize and hold carefully. When he proposes at the end of their first year together, sitting across from her at a quiet restaurant in Victoria Island with no grand performance, just a ring on the table and honest eyes, she says yes the same evening. They marry on a Saturday in December. The church is full. Olivia wears ivory. Her mother cries in the front row. Daniel holds her hand through the entire reception, as though he is afraid she might become unreachable. Her colleagues from work come in a cluster, laughing and vibrant. Several of them pull her aside to say she is glowing. She believes them. Olivia is a brand strategist at one of the top marketing firms in Lagos. She has worked there for 6 years, climbing steadily, the kind of climb that does not come from connections, but from sitting at her desk long after everyone else has gone home. 3 months before the wedding, she receives a promotion, head of strategy. It comes with a new office, a new title, and a salary that nearly doubles overnight. She tells Daniel over dinner, her voice bright with a happiness she does not yet know she should measure. He smiles. He congratulates her. He holds her hand across the table. He orders wine. What she does not see yet, cannot see, is what the news does behind his eyes. The first sign arrives quietly, as the first signs always do. It is a Sunday afternoon, 2 months into their marriage. They are sitting with Helen, his mother, who has come for her regular visit. The conversation drifts, as Sunday conversations do, toward money, toward plans, toward the future shape of their life together. Olivia mentions that they can comfortably start looking at property in the new year, that her new income makes it realistic. She says it casually, the way people mention weather. Daniel sets his glass down. We will look when the time is right. Something in his voice closes a door that had been open. Helen glances at her son. Olivia lets it pass, but it does not pass. That evening, after Helen has gone to bed, Daniel sits across from Olivia in the living room and says what he has apparently been carrying for weeks. I have been thinking. It is not a good look for a man when his wife earns more than him. People talk. Olivia looks at him carefully. What people? My family, friends, people who know us. And what exactly are they saying? He shifts. They are asking questions, wondering why I cannot take care of my own home. But you do take care of our home. Not like a man should. She wants to laugh, and the wanting frightens her a little. because she understands that if she laughs, something will break that cannot be repaired. She chooses her words the way you choose footing on wet ground. Daniel, my salary does not reduce yours. We are building together. He nods. He lets it go for that night, but he does not let it go. The weeks that follow are a study in small erosions. He stops asking about her work. Where he used to say, with genuine interest, "Tell me how the campaign went," he now changes the subject when she brings the office home in her voice. He begins to refer to our promotion as all that strategy work, a phrase emptied of pride. At family gatherings, his family's gatherings, he introduces her as his wife. Full stop. Where before he used to say, "And she runs strategy for Bright and Associates. Hear how good she is." Olivia notices. She files each thing away carefully, the way a person saves receipts for a return she hopes she will never have to make. His younger brother James visits one weekend. James is the kind of man who has decided that charm is a substitute for character. He is loud, quick to laugh, but in the particular voice men use when they think women are out of range. How do you manage it, honestly? A wife who earns more and runs a whole department? Does she not come home and remind you every day? And she hears Daniel laugh. Not a protest, not a correction, a laugh. She stands in the kitchen with a dish in her hand and understands that a man can love you and still find you inconvenient. The two things are not mutually exclusive. That is perhaps the most painful thing she learns in that moment. 3 months after that evening, Daniel comes home from work on a Thursday and sits down across from her, with the expression of a man who has rehearsed what he is about to say. She can see the rehearsal in the stillness of his hands. "I want to talk to you about something." His voice is measured, careful. "I have been doing a lot of thinking, and I believe it would be best for our marriage if you stepped back from your position. Not quit entirely, but resigned from the head of strategy role. Go back to a senior level, something less demanding." Olivia does not move. "The hours are too long," he continues. "You are always tired. You are always somewhere in your head. I feel like I married the job as much as I married you. You want me to resign." She repeats it not as a question, but as a thing she is turning over to examine from all sides. Or take a lesser role, something that gives us space to breathe. Something that pays less. He pauses. "That is not the point." "Then what is the point, Daniel?" His jaw tightens. "The point is that I am your husband, and I am telling you that this arrangement is not working for me." The words hang in the air between them. Olivia thinks of the girl who stayed late on Friday night to finish decks no one asked her to finish. The woman who pitched ideas in boardrooms where she was the only woman at the table. The promotions she did not ask for because someone noticed what she was worth. She thinks of all of it. And then she thinks about Daniel's rehearsed stillness and his brother's laughter in the kitchen. "I will think about it," she says. She does not say yes, but she does not say no. And in a marriage, sometimes not saying no is indistinguishable from yielding. She tells no one at first. Not her mother, not her closest friend, Victory, who would say something sharp and true and possibly irreversible. She carries it alone. Which is what women who love their husbands tend to do when their husbands become the problem. But the body keeps its own record. She loses sleep. She starts second-guessing at work in ways she never did before. Pausing before she speaks in meetings. Editing herself mid-sentence. Wondering suddenly if her confidence reads as aggression. If her visibility is a burden to someone waiting at home. Bright, her director, notices. He calls her into his office on a Tuesday morning and closes the door, which he only does when a conversation requires a witness-free room. He is a man of 60 who has run this company for 20 years on the principle that talent does not apologize for itself. He looks at her across his desk. "You have been different the last few months," he says. Not an accusation, A fact. She keeps her face neutral. I am fine, sir. He studies her. Olivia, I did not build this company by ignoring what I can see. Whatever is pulling at you outside these walls, it must not be allowed to pull at what you have built inside them. He pauses. You are the most capable person in this building at your level. I want to be clear about that. She thanks him. She stands up. On the way back to her office, something shifts in her chest. Not resolved yet, but the beginning of it. It is Helen who breaks something open, and not intentionally. She comes for her quarterly visit in August, arriving on a Friday evening with jollof rice in a cooler and the quiet authority of a woman who raised men and knows, therefore, exactly what men are capable of doing wrong. Olivia has always felt seen by Helen in a way that is rare. Not as a daughter-in-law performing a role, but as a person worth observing properly. On Saturday morning, while Daniel is at the barber, the two women sit in the kitchen over tea. Helen watches Olivia with the careful eyes of someone who has been reading the room since she arrived. You are carrying something, Helen says. Olivia looks into her cup. I am fine, Ma. You are not fine, and I am not asking for your fine. She sets her cup down. Tell me what my son has done. The precision of it, not has something happened, but what has my son done, unravels Olivia's composure. She takes a breath. Then she tells her. All of it. The conversation. The resignation request. The way his brother laughed in the kitchen and Daniel laughed with him. The way she has been editing herself at work without realizing it until now. Helen listens without interrupting. When Olivia finishes, the kitchen is so quiet that the sound of traffic from the street feels like an intrusion. Helen's voice, when it comes, is low and steady. His father tried the same thing with me in 1987. I was teaching. I had just been made vice principal. And he told me it was making him look small among his colleagues. I asked him one question. She pauses. Did you become smaller when I became bigger? Did my promotion take something from you that was actually yours? She picks up her cup again. He had no answer, because there was no answer. My success was not his problem. His pride was his problem. Olivia looks at her. I did not leave the position, Helen says, and he learned, eventually. She meets Olivia's eyes fully. Daniel is a good man, but good men can hold the foolish ideas with both hands if no one makes them put them down. You must decide what you will accept in your own home. That evening, Daniel and Olivia sit in the living room after his mother has retired. The television is on, but neither of them is watching it. He can feel that something has shifted. The air in the room is different, heavier with things unsaid. Your mother and I talked today, Olivia says. He looks at her. I have decided I am not resigning, not from my role, not from any part of who I am. Her voice does not waver. I have worked for everything I have, not to compete with you, not to make you feel small, but because this is who I am, and I am not willing to become less of myself so that you can feel more comfortable. Daniel is quiet for a long moment. The rehearsed stillness is gone. This is different. This is a man actually sitting with something. I do not want to be the kind of husband who holds his wife back. His voice is slower now, more honest. But Olivia, you do not know how it feels to sit in a room with men who know your wife makes more money than you do and watch their faces. And you do not know how it feels, she says quietly, to be asked to make yourself smaller so that other people's discomfort can be managed by your own husband. The word lands. He feels it. I am not those men, she continues. Their opinion of our marriage is not our marriage, but you inviting their opinion into our home, letting it sit at our dinner table and shape what you ask of me. That is a choice you are making, and I need you to understand what that choice costs. He says nothing for a long time. Then, carefully, I have not been fair to you. No, she says, you have not. I do not know how to stop caring what people think. Then that is what we need to work on, together. But I will not amputate my career as therapy for your pride, Daniel. I will not. The weeks that follow are not easy. They go to couples counseling. Olivia insists. Daniel agrees with the careful compliance of a man who knows he has run out of stronger ground to stand on. The sessions are uncomfortable in the way that honesty is always uncomfortable. The counselor, a steady woman named Dr. Fashola, he asks Daniel in their third session what specifically he believes he loses when his wife succeeds. He thinks for a long time before he answers. I feel like I am not needed. What do you mean by needed? If she earns more, handles more, achieves more, what am I there for? Dr. Fashola looks at him. Is a marriage a transaction? Does your value in it depend on what you contribute financially? He has no answer. But the question does something to him that the arguments could not. It reaches a different layer. James comes to visit again in October, 3 months after the living room conversation. This time he makes a comment at dinner. Casual, glancing, designed to draw Daniel into the old alliance. So Olivia, still running the whole company? A smile in his voice that is not a smile. Daniel puts down his fork. He looks at his brother with a steadiness that surprises everyone at the table, including himself. My wife is excellent at what she does, and we are proud of it in this house. His voice is quiet. Final. James blinks, looks away, reaches for his water. Olivia says nothing, but under the table she finds Daniel's hand and holds it briefly. It is not everything. It is not the resolution of everything. But it is a man choosing, in real time, who he wants to be. By the time the new year comes, the apartment feels different. Not fixed. Marriage is not a thing you fix once and leave, but actively, honestly different. And Daniel signs up for a professional development course. He begins building a side consultancy, something he had put aside for years because he told himself he was not ready. The work of addressing his fear, that shapeless, unnamed fear that a thriving wife somehow diminished him, turns out to unlock something in him as well. Purpose that had gone dormant. Olivia watches this happen with a careful tenderness. She does not celebrate it loudly. She simply makes space for it. At Bright and Associates, she leads the company's biggest campaign of the year. It wins an industry award in February. At the ceremony, Daniel's in the front row. He claps longer than anyone. On the drive home, she glances at him. You know you did not have to come. I know, he says. I wanted to. They drive in silence for a while. The city moves around them, lit up and restless as cities always are. I am sorry, he says. Not for the first time. But I want to keep saying it until it actually means what it should mean. I know, she says, and she does. Victory, Olivia's closest friend, the sharp-tongued one she had protected Daniel from by keeping quiet, finally hears the full story over drinks on a rooftop in March. The same kind of party where Olivia and Daniel first met, though this one is quieter. Victory listens. She does not say, I told you. She does not perform outrage. She simply says, how are you now? Honest. Olivia looks out at the lights. I am tired, but I am still here, still whole, and that is something I chose. Victory nods slowly. That is everything. There is a kind of woman who is told in various ways across her whole life that her ambition is a threat to the people who love her, that her success should be proportioned to other people's comfort, that the most generous thing she can do is make herself a little smaller, a little quieter, a little less. Olivia was that woman, and she refused. Not because she stopped loving her husband, but because she understood something her mother-in-law had lived, and her counselor had named, and her mirror had been trying to show her for months that a love which asks you to diminish is not love protecting you. It is fear protecting itself. She did not resign. She did not shrink. She fought for her marriage without surrendering the self that made her worth fighting for. And in the end, the man she married, the real one, underneath the pride and the noise of other people's opinions, chose to grow instead of hold her down. That is the story. And if you are watching this, and you have ever been asked to be less so that someone else could feel like more, I hope you heard it. What part of this story stayed with you the most? And do you think Daniel deserved a second chance? Or had he already crossed a line that could not be uncrossed? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Also, tell us where you are watching from. Whether you are in Lagos, London, Houston, Accra, or anywhere in the world, drop your location in the comments. We love knowing where our family is. If this story spoke to something real in you, you are in the right place. Subscribe to Heritage Folktales Stories, because here, truth always finds its voice, and the woman who refuses to shrink always finds a way home. Thank you for watching.